Welcome to the Bay Area Case Studies Virtual College Fair. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Before we get started with our presentations, just a few quick housekeeping items to go over. The first is that attendees are welcome and encouraged to ask questions to any of our panelists at any time utilizing the Q&A feature. You can pose your question to a specific panelist, or you can ask a general question to any and all of the panelists. Also, just a reminder that your camera and microphone are off, so the panels will not be able to see or hear you. And approximately 1 week from today, a recording of this session will be available on the same website where you registered for tonight's session. Without further ado, I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to our panelists. And up first will be Santa Clara University.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. I am Claire, and I am an assistant director of Santa Clara University. So I'm going to kick it off and get started here because we don't have a lot of time. So we are located in the West Coast of the US, about an hour south of San Francisco. The view you see on your screen is looking at San Francisco, so not necessarily our campus, but we're not too far from there. We're in a beautiful part of Northern California, so students can experience really all 4 seasons if they want to. We can get you to the beaches of Santa Cruz in less than 30 minutes, or in about 30 minutes, or to the slopes of Tahoe in just a few hours. We also have a great geodiversity represented on our campus. So as you'll see, just under half of our students are coming from out of state or international regions. Being in Silicon Valley, we have a lot of great benefits for our students. So there's practical implications as well, given that our students are building their networks starting in their first year in Silicon Valley. We are also the oldest institution of higher education in the state of California. So we have a long legacy of partnership with Silicon Valley. You know, we didn't opportunistically move to this area. We've been here and Silicon Valley has grown around us. You'll see that about 80% of our undergrads complete an internship before they graduate. And so they're building those real world skills, starting sometimes even in their first or second year. These big name companies are also not just looking for students studying technology, they're looking for students that have a variety of skill sets. So all students at Santa Clara can really find success in this opportunity. So we are also a Jesuit institution. So talking about our Jesuit identity and mission, we focus on education, building community, and social justice. That's really what grounds us and what runs through all of the experiences for students at Santa Clara. You do not need to be Catholic to attend Santa Clara. You'll note that only about half of our students identify as Catholic or Christian. We focus on just educating the whole student. When you come to Santa Clara, you are so much more than just a student sitting in classes and earning a degree. That is important, but we want you to develop your full identity as well. We offer some hallmarks of a Jesuit institution, including study abroad, so students can build their global community, and a core curriculum so that students have a strong foundation and educational skill set that goes across multiple disciplines, not just what they choose to major in. You'll see we are a great mid-size institution, about 5,500 undergraduate students, perfect size in that there's always new students to meet, but it's small enough and that you can make a community pretty quickly. A big hallmark of attending Santa Clara is that intimate learning experience. So being in classes, the majority of yours will fall somewhere between 15 and 30 students. We don't believe in those massive lecture halls. We don't even physically have spaces like that on campus, because we specifically want you to get to know your faculty, and they want to get to know you, right? They want to know you as more than just a name on their roster. They want to know what you want to do, why you're at Santa Clara, why you're in their class, and how they can help you achieve your goals outside of their classroom as well. We are made up of 3 colleges here at Santa Clara. So we are one university, but when students apply to Santa Clara, they choose to apply to either the College of Arts and Sciences, the Levy School of Business, or the School of Engineering. What is important to note, though, is that students can double major across these schools, or they can major minor within schools or across schools as well. So lots of ways for students to really tailor their education to what they want it to be. Looking at our admission profile and kind of what goes into our evaluation process, it's important for you to recognize that we employ holistic review. So we do not have a minimum GPA cutoff. It's also really important to note that we are currently test optional. So our university has granted us a 2-year window to be test optional. So students who applied for fall 2021 or who are applying for fall 2022, we do hope to make that permanent. We just have to give it the 2-year window before our university allows us to move forward with that. But you'll see there's a lot of things on your screen that we are looking at when you apply to Santa Clara. You are not just your grades, right? You are your stats, but you are also your story. There's lots of ways for you to tell us about that through the different components of your application you see on screen. We do have a supplemental application. It is important for students to be able to tell us and articulate why Santa Clara, right? Not just why college, but what do you want to do on our campus and how do you see yourself fitting in to our community? So also to kind of start to wrap up here with our deadlines, we have multiple ways for students to apply to Santa Clara, multiple times at which you can apply to Santa Clara University. So as a high school student who's looking to apply and go directly into Santa Clara, you can apply at our early deadline, November 1st, or our regular deadline, which is January 7th. At each of those deadlines, we do offer either a binding route or a non-binding route. So a binding route means you're committed and you're ready to say yes to Santa Clara. That does give you a little boost in your likelihood of being admitted. But then we also offer a non-binding route, which is either early action or regular decision. Something important for students to know is that at Santa Clara, the largest pool of students is applying regular decision. So while that is really common, it also means that's when you're going to have the most competition for our seats. I also want to mention financial aid. We offer both need-based and merit-based aid at Santa Clara. In order to qualify for need-based aid, you do have to submit the FAFSA, and we strongly encourage you to submit the CSS profile. For merit-based aid, there is nothing that you have to do. All students are automatically considered for our merit-based aid scholarships when you apply. So keep in mind that your application to Santa Clara doubles as your scholarship application. So anything you want us to consider needs to be in your application. That is it for me as we move on. I know that was a lot of information in a short amount of time. I'll be checking the chat to see if you have any questions, and I'll post my contact information as well. So I will pass it along.
Thank you very much, Santa Clara. And just a reminder to any attendees who just joined us, please do feel free to utilize that Q&A feature to ask questions to any of our panelists. But up next is the University of Rochester.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I'm Kim Craig. I'm from the University of Rochester. I'm the West Coast Regional Director. So I'm located in California. So I'm not as brave as some of our East Coast reps who are still here today doing a great job. I want to tell you a little bit about where we're located. So we are located in Rochester, New York. Which is in New York State, is obviously separate from New York City, but is a city of about 1 million people. We're located in Western New York on the traditional homelands of the Haudenosaunee people, right below Lake Ontario. And, you'll definitely hear in college presentations that idea of like the best of both worlds. And we have a couple of those that we think about. We definitely think that we have really a nice setup to be able to offer students a traditional college campus, right? So you can see here, we're basically bordered on 3 sides by a river. We're very green. We have that traditional East Coast college campus feel, but we're only 2 miles south of downtown Rochester, which, as I said, is about 1 million people. So there's lots of great opportunities for internships, for great restaurants, for great concerts and things like that. We're often voted one of the most livable cities. So students have access to all that through really great shuttle service, but they're able to stay on campus. And you can see a little bit of what campus looks like here. And we also really are a best of both worlds in we're a tier 1 research university. So we have all the resources that implies. We have very strong pre-med, engineering, the sort of traditional things you think of. We have a music conservatory. We have a world-class music conservatory that is open to non-majors. So students can take lessons and ensembles and things like that. But just lots of great resources in our poli-sci department, in our film, in our international relations. But we are set up more like a small liberal arts school. We have 5,500 undergraduates, and the majority of our classes are less than 19 students. We have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So you get kind of the resources, but the attention, right? But really the star of the show for Rochester is the curriculum. We have no required courses. We allow students to really study what they love, to really explore. When you're admitted to every major, other than music performance, which you do have to audition for. But other than that, everything. So there's no impacted majors. There's no different admission rate for, engineering or film or theater or anything like that. Everybody's admitted to everything. And what that really does is it allows students to have the chance to really develop an interdisciplinary lens. I always pick on our pre-med students. They get kind of nervous sometimes when I say you might change your major, and they think I'm saying, from biology to, film or dance or theater or something, which maybe, but more likely, it might be to bioethics, to public health, to biomedical engineering, things like that. So we want students to have that sort of interdisciplinary lens, look at things in multiple ways. You see our triple major here. We do have students a triple and quadruple major and still graduate in 4 years. I don't necessarily recommend that, but you can. About half of our students are double majors. And we do have something called Take 5, where you can stay for a 5th year, study something that's not your major, and it's completely tuition free. We're the only school I've ever heard of that does that. We also have a similar program with having an entrepreneurial year for free. So we really want you to explore. We want you to get that hands-on learning. Almost 80% of our students do research. 95% of our students do internships. You can do those starting freshman year. You can do them every year you're at Rochester. If you tell us you're excited about research in your application, you can get a $3,000 grant to do research in anything you want while you're at Rochester. Doesn't have to be your major, could be anything you want, can include travel. Our internships are across the country, across the world. The Bay Area is actually one of our largest partnerships in terms of internships. But we do have students, because of our flexible curriculum with study abroad, you can do internships and research. People are studying climate change in Antarctica, working with Engineers Without Borders, things like that. So we're very, very flexible. We've also done a lot to really create a great student life situation. 90% of our students live on campus. We have a very intentional living learning community. We have students from over 120 campuses, or I'm sorry, 120 countries on campus. And typically in previous years, we've usually had more than that. So we really want students to have that intentional community building. And so we do a lot to create that for our students on campus. I'm not going to get way into the application because I know you guys have a long time before you have to do that. We do have early decision and regular decision. But a few things to highlight: we are test optional, and we were before testing dates started getting canceled and other things like that. So we're very holistic in how we look at applications. We already know how to read without tests. One of the things we do love is you connecting with us. We talk about the idea of not, and this is corny, but we talk about the idea of not having demonstrated interest, but demonstrated understanding. Show that you really understand all those things we talked about and yourself and how you learn and how those fit together. So we highly recommend an interview because that's an opportunity to do that. And you can contact me here and find out more about that. But also know that we do a lot to make sure that we are meeting your need. So we do meet 100% of need with financial aid. And then we also offer up to full ride scholarships. And like our friends at Santa Clara, all you have to do is apply for admission to apply for scholarships. So please, I'll put my contact in the chat as well, but please reach out to me and ask me any questions you want. And thanks so much for spending time with us.
Thank you very much, Rochester. Moving on to our next presentation, we have Willamette University.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. Nice to meet everybody. My name is Caitlin Forbes. I'm an admission counselor here at Willamette. I'm just going to take the next couple of minutes to just tell you a little bit about Willamette's story and introduce you to a few of the things that make us unique. My hope is that these couple of minutes will just inspire you to want to spend more time with us outside of this webinar via a virtual visit or one in person. So kind of telling you about who we are. We're located in Salem, Oregon, which is the state capital. It's also in the heart of the really beautiful Willamette Valley. We're a liberal arts college supported by graduate programs in business, law, and theology. We're also located in a part of the country that's just generally sought after for its natural beauty, diverse ecosystems, outdoor opportunities, and just a lot of places to explore. We're also one of the most historic universities in the Western United States. We were actually founded before Oregon itself was established as a state. So because of that, we began to educate and shape really innovative leaders from the very beginning, including our very first graduate, Emily York, who's in this picture. As things like business and government, education, medicine, and social systems were being established in the West, it was Willamette alum who were equipped with that really great education that allowed them to really make an impact as industries like that quite literally grew up around our university. I mention our history because it's just really important to understand Willamette's really rich heritage to know who we are as an institution now. Our legacy of leadership and impact in the communities around us is exactly what Willamette students will find today. We're just a place that wants to take knowledge and then turn it into action in those communities. Our predecessors did give us a motto that informs the current Willamette experience in a very real way. Our motto that was established at our founding is "Not unto ourselves alone are we born." It's in Latin here for anybody taking Latin. Our motto sums up what those early alumni knew from their time at Willamette, which is we are in the world together, and our education should be a time when we practice and explore how we can make an impact on others. So we talk about the motto quite a bit at Willamette and continually challenge ourselves to live in it in varied ways. I think that Willamette does a really exceptional job of providing students with occasions both in and out of the classroom to practice the idea of the motto. So whether it's making a positive change through leadership, service, or innovation, students are going to be able to live the motto in real time. In the classroom, Willamette students do meet in small groups, and they have really highly engaged faculty lead discussion-based classes. These small groups are interactive and designed to help students develop important skills that they'll see through their lives and their careers, like critical thinking, creative problem solving, and the ability to consider varied perspectives. Talking about our faculty, they're super accomplished academics. They research, write, and publish extensively, but first and foremost, they are teachers. Our faculty serve as mentors, and they really help our students learn for the sake of learning so they can grow and change as the world changes around them. So it's no wonder why Willamette has more Oregon Professors of the Year than any other college in the state by quite a margin. We also feel really strongly that incredible classroom environments at Willamette are critically supported by experiential and co-curricular activities, such as study abroad or hands-on research and internships that provide that interactive out-of-class experience that all Willamette students will participate in while they're at Willamette. Our unique location also contributes significantly in our ability to provide those opportunities. For example, because we are located in the center of Salem's downtown, we are the only campus in the nation that sits directly across the street from the state capitol building, 76 feet to be exact. You can imagine just all of the internship and research opportunities for our students that range everything from politics to economics to psychology and data science, just because of our proximity and long-lasting relationship with the state government. On the other side of Willamette, I call it the Willamette sandwich. We actually have the Salem Health Hospital, also called Salem Health, which is one of Oregon's largest hospitals. And because of that, we have a really thriving pre-med program that can also get that hands-on experiential learning by volunteering at Salem Health. We also do own a 305-acre property called the Zeno Learning and Recreation Space. Students can dig in the dirt, quite literally, in this region, doing things like restoring habitats, participating in forestry studies, and growing their own vegetables. We're also co-located with the Tokyo International University of America. Our American Studies program brings over 100 Japanese students to live and learn with us in Salem each year. And this program is a great reminder of Willamette's strong commitment to all things international. We value the experiential learning that comes from the exchange students who share our campus, as well as just the amazing opportunities that students find while participating in our 66 study abroad options. So as you can see, we're physically located in a way that we are surrounded by so many opportunities for our students, and that extends their learning beyond campus. There's a lot more to say, but before my time is up, I just want to mention that we do use the Common App. We review applications holistically, and we've been fully test optional for several years. We never charge a fee to apply because we don't want that to ever be a barrier for a student who's interested in attending Willamette. And every applicant, including my friend here, is considered for our generous financial aid awards. If we really encourage applications from bright, diverse, prepared students who want to make an impact and interact with the world around them or embrace challenging ideas. So if you want to be a part of our deep traditions and history that have made Willamette the shaper of innovative leaders, I hope that you'll take some time to learn more about us. You can visit our website to explore our virtual visit opportunities, or you can explore our in-person visit opportunities. Please don't hesitate to reach out to learn more. And as always, go Bearcats.
Thank you very much, Willamette University. Up next, we'll move to Harvey Mudd College.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason Santiago. I'm here to talk a little bit about Harvey Mudd College, which is located in Claremont, California, about 35 miles east of Los Angeles. We are a member of the Claremont Colleges, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. First, though, about Harvey Mudd, we are a liberal arts college focused on science, engineering, and math, which means we offer a well-rounded education, but have only 10 majors all in STEM. You may be wondering how being a liberal arts college and being STEM focused works exactly. Well, like other liberal arts colleges, students come in undeclared and have 2 years to choose a major. During that time, however, we do require a technical Common Core, which has students taking, has students becoming well-versed across the STEM disciplines. This means they'll take at least one class in each of the sort of departments we have on campus. And as you can see here, a lot of math and science. We hope that this helps them achieve a breadth of study in STEM, which actually for us continues into your major, which are also broadly approached. It's best illustrated by our one engineering major, just the one, a general engineering program. So while you can find online that Harvey Mudd ranks highly for mechanical, electrical, chemical, and even civil engineering, we don't actually offer those majors. We prepare them broadly across engineering, just the same that we would prepare them broadly in chemistry, computer science, physics, and etc. I don't mean to suggest that our students don't get to specialize. We know that's important. And so they have the opportunity to specialize and be ready to work or go to graduate programs after 4 years. Research is one way they do that, as well as technical electives. Research can start as early as the first year, and every student is required to complete a capstone program in order to graduate. We're well known for our clinic program, which where year-long projects are supported or sponsored by companies like Google, Nike, and Virgin Orbit, and a few more others that you'll see on this slide. We have about 10 to 15 patents coming out of the clinic program each year, and clinic is specifically required for computer science and engineering majors, but is an option for any major we offer on campus. Last but not least, every student takes at least 25% of their courses in the humanities, social sciences, and the arts, what we call HSA on campus. We have one department for the humanities, social sciences, and the arts, and they try to cover as many disciplines as possible. The students, as you can see, are required to take a breadth of study, but also a concentration, which is, while like a minor, not technically one. We don't offer traditional minors at the college, so you can't minor in something, but you can certainly concentrate in it. Our HSA program is a key part of why students do choose us, because they want the focus on STEM, but they don't also want to sacrifice their interest in non-STEM disciplines, whether it's music or languages or the arts. Through this curriculum, we seek to educate future leaders in STEM who are also excellent communicators and translators. And supporting us in this mission are the other Claremont colleges. So Pomona, Scripps, Claremont McKenna, and Pitzer. We were founded as a consortium and are all located in this square mile that you see here. We share a border with Pitzer right across the street from Scripps, and we are just about 5 minutes away from Claremont McKenna and Pomona. We share the same academic calendar, the registration system, and cross-registration happens pretty seamlessly for the 2,500 courses we offer annually. This gives our students access to programs and courses that we just couldn't ever really offer on our own, like the 2 music programs offered through the joint music program of the 4 Claremont colleges that are not Pomona, and then Pomona's music program, about a dozen world languages, and so much more. We're often asked how often this happens, how often students take classes at the other colleges, and 100% of our students absolutely do. And again, it's because we just can't offer the same range or diversity of courses that our neighbors could. So our students are forced to take these classes at the other colleges. Plus, being part of the Claremont colleges means that it's not just the 900 students that are in the Harvey Mudd College student body that you will sort of interact with throughout your 4 years. You'll have 6,000 undergraduates total that you can interact with as part of the shared student life experience. We also share resources that you see listed there. And I think the most interesting bit is that we have 2 NCAA Division III programs in the Claremont colleges. Claremont McKenna, Harvey Mudd, and Scripps form one team, and Pomona and Pitzer are our rivals. So it's the 6th Street rivalry. They literally cross the street for the big homecoming game. So for students, and families, I think we work really well for students looking for a small college and that small college experience, but can appreciate the option or the possibility for something bigger. Harvey Mudd specifically works for students who want to focus on STEM, but don't want to give up a well-rounded education in pursuit of that, or at least not yet. In terms of the admission process, we will continue to be test optional for this next year. And in terms of visits, while we have not yet figured out what summer visits will look like, please check out our website, actually this one. Also join our inquiry list, which you'll find at this link. It's the quickest way to get updates from our office. So once we figure out how we're going to welcome folks back to campus, we'll let you know. And with that, I will stop my presentation and pass it on to our friends at Bentley University.
Thank you very much, Harvey Mudd. And yes, up next will be Bentley.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. As some of my colleagues alluded to earlier, I am on East Coast time, excuse me. So I apologize if I sound a bit tired because it does happen to be 11:25 my time. But I do definitely want to spend some time. Sorry, I forgot I have two screens open. I do definitely want to spend some time chatting with you all. Oh, sorry, hold on one second. Now I'm frozen. Okay. Here we go. So I do definitely want to spend some time telling you all a little bit about Bentley and what Bentley does have to offer. So Bentley University is located in right outside of Boston, Massachusetts. So we are about 9 miles outside of Boston. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes for our students to get into the city on any given time. And that's often used for extracurricular activities, whether it's going to see a Red Sox game or for internships and job opportunities as well. So a lot of our students are able to head into the city. They're really getting the best of both worlds, being able to be close to a major city, but not necessarily in the city. So they're able to be on their quiet, more suburban campus rather than in the busy bustle of the city, but still have that vibe. So you can see here that in the background is Boston, and this is one of our most popular kind of picture-taking buildings on campus, which is our library. You can see the clock tower there. So a lot of our students, as you can see, spend their time on campus. It is very residential. So a lot of the buildings that you're seeing on this section of campus are some of our residence halls, but also some of our academic buildings as well. So everything is very accessible for our students. Now, I certainly want to go through some quick facts for you as well. For those of you who might not have ever heard of Bentley before, we are on the smaller side of an institution, especially for schools in the Boston area, with about 4,000 undergraduate students. Now, there are opportunities for graduate studies, so certainly a place where students can continue their education, whether it be for the Falcon Fast Track program, which is a 4+1 program, or going into graduate school altogether right after graduation from your undergrad. Something that is certainly specific and different about Bentley is that we are a business institution. So we are not a small liberal arts college and we are not a large state school. And so that business piece is really, really specific to Bentley and kind of the ground and foundation of a student's education, regardless of your major. So you can see here that we do have a pretty small in-person class setting, which is why I think like a lot of institutions out there that are on the smaller side, why the virtual space was tough this year, because we really value that face-to-face in-person education, which is why we do have an 11:1 student to faculty ratio and an average class size of 26 students. We do have over 100 clubs and organizations on campus, as well as a little over 20 Division I and II sports. So the men's ice hockey team on campus is our only Division I sport, and the rest of our sports are Division II. Student-wise, I mentioned that we are a very residential institution, and with that, we do have about 20% of our students involved with Greek life on campus. Oops, I'm so sorry. My fault. Okay, here we go. And then we do have 6 high-tech learning labs on campus as well. So pretty important for all of our students, specifically with studying business, knowing that you can take what you're learning inside the classroom into a more real technology-driven space on campus. We do have a trading room on campus, which is the oldest and largest university trading room in the country. So we are, as a smaller institution, very proud of that addition to our campus that has been there for quite some time. Now, we do offer 26 majors and 35 minors. With that comes a lot of opportunity to study business, as I mentioned before. And so with our students studying business, And regardless of which major you choose, you will take a business core curriculum and a liberal arts core curriculum. So we really are combining the best of both worlds with the business and the liberal arts, but we specifically are a business institution. So all students, regardless, like I mentioned, of your major, do have the option for a liberal studies major. So if you are in the School of Business, you have the option to concentrate in something in the liberal studies. That allows our students to be well versed in a few different disciplines while still focusing on business. Where we don't allow students to double major, this liberal studies major is super popular for our students, really allowing them to have the opportunity to find their passions elsewhere. So whether it's in the health and industry or global perspectives, a lot of students find or their interest in a job opportunity that way through the liberal studies major. I think when talking about business and especially sending your student, or for the students in the room, going to college across the country, there's a lot to think about, especially with this sector of only being a business institution. So I think that, or I know that these different outcomes on the slide right here are super important for our students to know. So I think that the 98% of our class of 2020 kind of having that outcome be so high, especially during a year of a global pandemic, is really impressive to our students. And I think that that has definitely a lot to do with our alumni database and our career services, but also being so close to Boston. Just to run through our application requirements really quickly, we are a Common App exclusive institution, so that is the only application you need to apply to Bentley. Like many of my other colleagues mentioned, you do not need to apply for any additional merit scholarships. Applying to the institution is that application for merit. We do require the FAFSA and the CSS profile for your financial aid. Of course, we do recommend your high school transcript and letters of recommendation. And then we have changed to be test optional for the last academic cycle because of COVID, and will continue this year as well. And the interview process is optional. And I know that some of my colleagues have done a very great job explaining why that would be important to the admission process. So I'm going to skip that as I am running out of time. But I will certainly leave my email address in the chat if you do have any questions or want to learn more about Bentley. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bentley. Now we're going to move on to our final presentation. Just a note for our attendees, there is still time to get your questions in through the Q&A. We will have some time after the final presentation to continue answering those questions. But up next is Colorado College.
Hello, and last but not least, my name is Pedro Ramirez from Colorado College. I'm an Associate Director of Admission, broadcasting live from sunny, beautiful Colorado, where we get over 300 days of sunshine, and where Colorado College is the only national liberal arts college on the Rocky Mountain time zone. So we are unique amongst national liberal arts colleges across the country. Colorado College is located in beautiful Colorado Springs, Colorado, which is about 45 minutes to an hour south of Denver. But our campus is a mere 10-minute walk from downtown Colorado Springs, which is ranked the #3 best place to live by US News and World Report. We're happy to be in the top 5 for the past 4 years. We are located on unceded territory of the Ute and Arapaho people, and we acknowledge the land that we're on. Our famous quad on campus was recently renamed from Armstrong Quad to Tava Quad, which is the name of Pikes Peak, which overlooks campus. And that was the name that the Ute people called Pikes Peak, America's Mountain. Colorado College has 2 other satellite campuses in the state of Colorado, so you really get the best of the Colorado land and area when you go to CC. We have a cabin 45 minutes away, which acts as like a surrogate classroom and meeting space for students right there in the middle of the Rocky Mountains. And we also have a Baca campus, which is in the beautiful San Luis Valley, that has essentially everything you would need from a regular campus, including dining commons, classrooms, a state-of-the-art library, things of that sort. In terms of who makes up Colorado College, we're pretty geographically diverse, covering pretty evenly across all the United States, with 31% of our students identifying as students of color, around 13% first generation to go to college, a little bit over 10% of our student body are international. They come from 74 different countries around the world. And in terms of size, you mentioned earlier, 2,800 total students, so relatively smaller class sizes, average 16. No classes larger than 25, as all classes are capped at 25. Anything over 25 has to have a co-professor, be co-taught. 96% of our students come back from the sophomore year, and we have a 10-to-1 student to faculty ratio, and 94% of our professors have terminal degrees in their areas of study. Some of our favorite majors or most popular majors at CC, which you don't declare until your sophomore year, but environmental science, independently designed majors, international political economy, journalism, and creative writing, linguistics, global health are all extremely popular at CC. But if you don't remember anything from this presentation, please remember the block plan. That is what makes CC so unique and special. At CC, we take one class at a time. So as a student, you will not be taking 3 to 4 classes in a semester or in a quarter like at most universities or colleges. We're only one of 2 schools in the country that does this, where you take one class at a time for 3.5 weeks. So you can focus, really not worry about balancing other coursework like you're doing currently in high school. And it allows you to do a lot more exploration in your major, in your areas of study, where you can be study sustainability and be an environmentalist one block, but then study Russian literature in Russia for blocks 5 and 6, and then come back and be a psychologist. So at Colorado College, we really offer a wide range of courses. 80% of our students will do field study or study in the field outside of the classroom. And almost 100% of our students will study abroad at Colorado College because of our blocks abroad mixed with the study abroad options at CC. And then what's great about Colorado College in terms of the block plan is that between every class, every 3.5 weeks, once your class ends, you get 4.5 days off called the block break. So you really get to be citizens of Colorado, the Southwest, and get to really explore the area. We're about 2.5 hours away from Rocky Mountain National Park. We're about 3.5, 4 hours from Utah and Arches National Park and Canyonlands. And so, you get a chance to actually explore the Southwest, be a student, also rest and recharge from the block plan. And in terms of admission, I'm going to actually skip because I only have about a minute left. And in terms of admission at Colorado College, we seek students who are highly dedicated to their studies, but also understand the importance of community. When you apply to Colorado College, you will apply in one of 4 rounds. We have an early decision round, early decision 2 round, and we also have early action and regular action. And we are pretty transparent about our admit rates at CC. So, a good half of our student body applies in early decision rounds at Colorado College. We are test optional. We've been test optional going on 3 years now. At Colorado College, we believe it's a student choice to submit testing, and it's only one small part of many factors in a holistic process that we look at your test scores at Colorado College. And then in terms of financial aid, we have merit scholarships that you do not need to apply for. We have special aid for Colorado students, and then we have need-based aid. We can meet 100% of demonstrated need at Colorado College. But with that, let's open it up to the Q&A, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you very much, Colorado College, and thank you to all of our panelists for your great presentations. It's tough to fit in information about your school in 6 minutes, but those are wonderful presentations. We do have time remaining, so attendees, if you do have any additional questions, please do send them through the Q&A. While we're waiting to see what questions come in from our attendees, perhaps we can do a round of questions here ourselves. So I would pose the following question to you. What's one thing you did not have time to present on that you'd like to share now? Maybe that's your favorite event or tradition on campus, a fun fact about your school, or just something you didn't have time to present on. So why don't we go in that same order, leading off with Santa Clara.
Yeah, great question. So there's, of course, a lot that I could talk about, but in the interest of time, I'll kind of focus in. Something I didn't get to really share a lot about was the research opportunities for students on our campus. So we do have a number of graduate programs as part of Santa Clara University, but we are truly an undergraduate focused campus. So anything that a grad student would do at a typical university are available to our undergraduates starting in their first year. So we have students who are publishing papers with their faculty members. We have students who are founding their own companies through the business school, or even who aren't in the business school, but are interested in business anyway. So I'm just impressed by how many things our students can start doing from day one on our campus. And the reality is, if you have an interest, you can find a way to make that a reality at Santa Clara. And so that's something that I have found that our students don't always consider for a college, but that they recognize that they are able to do once they get here, and that really helps them decide that Santa Clara is the place for them a second time once they're already students on our campus.
Great, thank you. Rochester?
One thing I guess I like to talk about is our motto, which is Meliora, which means ever better. And it's a personal motto, you know, to always be learning and growing. But it really is a community motto that we take really seriously throughout student stay at Rochester. It's about making the communities around you better and making the community at Rochester better. And, you know, in this very complicated and trying year, we saw that even more than usual. Our students have talked about it over and over, how important the campus community was to them. And that's something that we really work hard to create and foster at Rochester.
Great, thank you. Willamette?
Yeah, I would love to talk about our dual degree programs. We offer them in law, business, data science, and engineering. And they're essentially fast track programs. You get to complete your Bachelor of Art or Science degree in about 3 years, and then you transfer over to the graduate schools, either right across the street or our partner institutions, to get those graduate level degrees as well. It's a wonderful way to be prepared to take that fast track. As well as we're just launching business, public health, and data science majors this fall, which is really exciting. So a lot of growing opportunities. And the last thing I'll mention is we just partnered with the Pacific Northwest College of Art for another graduate program. So a lot of fun things happening at Willamette.
Great, thank you. Harvey Mudd?
Yeah, I guess one thing that I'll share is one of our engineering faculty, who's always loved flying, actually brought on a project to campus where they could build a plane. They started in 2017. They completed it last year, and it's actually taken flight. And he's now thinking about the next plane that he wants to bring to campus to have our students build. I'm looking forward to it, because the last plane was a great attraction for visitors to campus, where they could literally walk by a plane under construction. So it's always really exciting to have projects like that are like very visually hands-on on campus, and so we're looking forward to hosting his next big project.
You always learn a lot in these extra question sessions. Thank you for that. Bentley?
Something at Bentley that I think is really unique, especially with the business background that our students do have, is our corporate partnership program. My favorite example of this is when Converse came to work with some of our students in a marketing class, and they gave them a pair of sneakers to wear around campus that was not yet released yet. And they were really able to analyze what their peers and their friends gave feedback with those shoes. And then Converse let them all keep their shoes and wear a pair of shoes, continued to around campus. But it worked really well for Converse because they got a population of students who are wearing their shoes at that age, but also a really great opportunity for our students to be able to work with a corporate company such as Converse, which is so large and well known, but also have that experience to do some kind of personal marketing research and analytics with their peers as well.
Great, thank you. And Colorado College.
Yeah, so I think one really neat fact about CC that I didn't get to really talk about is that we actually have the largest zero emission, zero carbon footprint library in North America on our campus. That just opened up last year. Kind of sad that COVID hit and students weren't able to enjoy it as much, but we have a geospatial lab in there. We have an e-gaming like kind of mini stadium in there. It's got some really cool, like, 21st century neat bells and whistles. So yeah, and we made sure that it was completely carbon neutral. So I think it's a great place for students to convene. We have classroom spaces in there, and it's just a very dynamic space for our students. So yeah.
Great, thank you. And thank you again to all of our panelists for joining us. They're great presentations and additional insights. I'm sure all of our attendees appreciated it as well. But certainly we want to definitely thank all of our attendees for joining us. We hope you got some good information out of this session, and we'll be continuing these conversations with these institutions. Before we do close this session, just a few quick housekeeping items to go over. The first is that when we close this window, you will receive a very quick 4-question survey that we ask that you take a minute and complete. And again, about 1 week from today, a recording of this session will be available on that same registration website. But thank you again to everybody. To those who are still asking questions, don't worry. All of our panelists will get a transcript of all questions asked. So if for some reason your question was not answered by each institution this evening through the Q&A, they'll be able to follow up with you. But thank you again, everybody. Have a great night and good luck in your college search.